Today we're stepping inside 3 extraordinary homes in Mexico City that reflect the same creativity, care, and individuality their owners bring to their work. First, we visit a soulful, art-filled sanctuary restored by a designer and artist.
One of my favorite pieces of art in the house is this painting. It's by a New York artist. Her name is Samantha Keeley Smith. She paints these psychological landscapes, and I love the quality of light in this work.
Then we head to an eclectic mid-century apartment of the rare tea company founder.
This is the original floor, those are the original tiles, this is the original concrete. Nothing has been changed. All we did really was clean it up, make sure it was put back into the best condition we could.
And finally, we visit the richly layered home of an architect.
I bought in Paris on the flea market, and they were just rolled paper. They're painted by hand. They're 17th century as well. And I called my upholsterer in Mexico and I said, can you mount them on something to make them usable? And he said, well, why don't we make a screen? So he made a beautiful 12-leaf screen.
This episode celebrates the bold design, color, and craft that define Mexico City living. You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story. I'm Allison Kenworthy, the founder of Homeworthy, and we take you inside the world's most beautifully decorated homes and introduce you to the brilliant people who live there.
Hi Homeworthy, I'm Liz Lang. Welcome to Grey Gardens.
Click the join button below to access all of our latest episodes ad-free and watch extended cuts of this and other homes, opening the doors to new rooms and exclusive content featuring our beloved hosts.
I can't wait to see, I'm so excited.
And if you're looking to shop items inspired by this and other Homeworthy tastemakers, be sure to use the product links below or scan the QR code on screen to find fabulous furniture, coffee table books, and accessories that can transform your house into a home. A big thank you to City Beauty for sponsoring today's Homeworthy episode. I've been adding a little extra self-care into my routine lately, and I'm excited to share City Beauty with you. They create skincare and beauty products designed to deliver real, visible results, all while enhancing your natural beauty at every age. I start with their Line Smoothing Hydra Mask. It's my go-to for days when my skin needs a boost. It's incredibly hydrating, and the serum-soaked mask leaves my skin looking refreshed and plump. Then for makeup, I've been reaching for their Beyond Mascara. It gives my lashes definition and lift without clumping, and it feels so lightweight. And of course, City Beauty is known for their City Lip bestsellers. These plumping glosses give beautiful shine and hydration, and they fit so easily into my routine and my bag. All of their formulas are science-backed, cruelty-free, paraben-free, and truly made to support your skin and confidence without a complicated routine. If you want to try City Beauty for yourself, use our code HOMEWORTHY to save 20% on your order at the link below.
Hi, Homeworthy. My name is Stella. Welcome to my house in Mexico City. Come on in.
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story. If you're looking to make your own space more homeworthy, we've teamed up with Cherish, our go-to online destination for chic, one-of-a-kind finds, sourced from the world's most wonderful vendors.
Mercury drops are from an artist I found on Cherish.
Whether we're after a bold statement piece or the perfect finishing touch, Cherish has extraordinary items that leave a lasting impression.
This table I bought on Cherish from Berlin, and it has a little bit of it's a tray, and it is mid-century, and it's one of my favorite pieces.
It's where we find iconic looks to set homes apart.
I think many dealers would agree that Cherish is the absolute best.
So to support Homeworthy and discover amazing items from Cherish, scan the QR code or click on the link below to start shopping.
Hi, my name is Stella DeVille. I'm an interior designer and a potter. I live in Mexico City, and I want to welcome you to my home. In 2020, I was living in New York City, and one of my interior design clients was coming to Mexico City, and she's like, why don't you come with me? We'll do some shopping, it'll be really fun, you've never been. So, being me, I said yes. And we got here, and it was one of those love at first sight moments. I am very much a Francophile, and yet I also, I have this whole thing that, Mexico City is essentially Paris dropped into the jungle. And I literally was sitting, at a bar eating an amazing tostada, and I'm like, darling, you need to move here. This is obviously your home. So basically, I went back to New York. March of 2020 was when COVID started. I actually decided to use that time to further my ceramics practice. I applied and got into this wonderful program, artist in residency program in Northern California. So we packed my car full of things, especially my coffee machine, and I drove myself cross country. And I spent about 6 months in that residency. And at the same time, I met somebody. So at the end of that year, we decided to come and visit Mexico. And we both really fell in love with Oaxaca. And we're very intrigued by Mexico City. So that's kind of the origin story. I had a really dear girlfriend who was living here at the time, and I called her up one day and I was like, Allison, you need to find me a house. I need to move to Mexico City. So a couple of days later, she calls me up and she says, Stella, I have great news. I think I've found your house. I'm like, fantastic. And she's like, but there's one catch. I think I might want it for myself. I'm like, oh, okay. And then I remembered a girlfriend of mine mentioning this website where she'd found her house. So I go on there and I type in Roma Sur, and the second listing I find is this house. It had been up for 8 hours, and the phone number that was connected to it was wrong, but the name attached to the broker's name was there. So I'm totally sleuthing, Google him, find his number, call him. We're driving back from Mexico City to Oaxaca. I'm looking on Google Maps, and I just cannot stop looking at the photos of this house. Anyway, the broker, I was telling him about how I'm an artist and I do salons, and I'm looking for a space where I can have a gallery and possibly a studio. And he's a filmmaker, and my landlord's actually an incredible director of photography, so they really get the kind of artist mind. And frankly, they were pretty excited about the idea of somebody who was willing to take on the project of this house. So after, that conversation, at the end of that conversation, he basically said to me, Stella, I think this house is meant for you. Which was, such a beautiful thing to say. It just felt like kismet. And, I'm an optimist. So, when I first came to look at the house, I'm like, it's just a little bit of paint and a couple of minor repairs, we'll get the gas turned on. Well, of course, it turned into a 10-month full-time renovation. I also had the help of my dear friend Alberto Franco, who's a very talented architect. He did all the drawings for the kitchen and helped me source the terrazzo and doing the bathroom renovations upstairs. And then just also helping me navigate with the crew, because it's not always easy as a woman in Mexico and other places to, have men listen to you, even if you have lots of construction experience. So it was very helpful, to have an architect who could just really get them focused. Welcome to my foyer. So when I first saw the house, it had been a production studio and offices for about 13 years. And there was paint all over the glass here. There was this weird little phone booth. And then there was this like weird grey, battleship grey cabinet that was obscuring a mantle. And there was actually an opening here through to the dining room and gallery. There was also this very odd piece of furniture here. And so it felt incredibly cluttered and dowdy. But it did have this incredible ceiling. They were a big part of why I fell in love with the house. They are, I mean, I consider them to be quite regal. And actually it's quite unusual to have this kind of level of detail in a house in Mexico City. So terrazzo has been used all over the world. It was brought here by the Spanish and Italian immigrants. And you can really see the Art Deco influence of the house in the angularity of the terrazzo staircase. I particularly love the mottled green and black, and also just the beautiful ironwork. You know, the quality of the craftsmanship is just astounding. As an homage to the terrazzo, I had this shelf constructed actually by a local gravestone maker, because they are some of the last people who actually continue the practice of making terrazzo. So that was an interesting conversation. One of my favorite Mexican designers is a designer called Eugenio Escudero. And this sofa is actually attributed to him. And I love the kind of Masoni-esque upholstery and the way that it plays with like the floor patterns. There's a lot of pattern on pattern going on in this house, which you know, I really just wanted to lean into. And then this pillow is actually Turkish. It's antique. It was made in the early 1900s, and it's all vegetable dye and very special. This table I found at the Rose Bowl flea market. It's made in Egypt, and it was custom made for an American actress. It's inlaid with bits of bone, and it's made with ebony wood, and it's actually signed underneath. I'm not going to take it up to show you, but I just love, you know, that this was made for somebody, and they lugged it all the way home to LA from Egypt. This credenza is a very interesting piece. It's also inspired by Eugenio Escudero's work, and it's where I display some of my most precious sculpture objects. So I have these 3 bronze sculptures by Matthias Geritz, and their title is Las Formas Geométricas. I found them at a flea market, and I didn't even know who he was. I was just incredibly drawn to these objects, and when I brought them home, I sent a photo of them to an architect friend who actually studied under him, and she's like, "You hit the jackpot. They're the real deal." So, you know, those days are really special days at the flea market. And then I have some other small unattributed bronze pieces that I really adore. I think they're maquettes for larger works. And finally, this very strange plaster head that I've found on the street in San Francisco, and she's traveled with me from San Francisco to New York and Oaxaca and now Mexico City. So she's, you know, a very interesting kind of found art piece. Okay, so one of the things I love about this entryway is actually a little half bath, and it's got a beautiful sink that we found on the roof that dates from the 1930s. We spent a lot of time stripping paint in order to get this beautiful effect. And the green of the room was inspired, of course, by the floor. The house is a little bit of a melange. It was built in 1933, so there's a lot of kind of Spanish revival, but there's also these really interesting Mexican deco elements. You can see that in the patterns of the tile, and we have very elaborate ceiling moldings, all of which I kept, and in some cases had to source replacements. I found a whole stash actually of old pieces of molding from other work that had been done before, which was fantastic. Basically, really tried to honor, the integrity of the house while still layering in some more contemporary elements, like the light fixtures, for instance. And the other thing about my home that I really love is that I can bring people together here. I'm very much about creating experiences for people, and so we do salons. I host mezcal tastings. I have a little mezcal project. I have, friends who are opera singers come and, sing for us in the garden, that kind of thing. Okay, come and have a look at my dining room. So this is my dining room. I also use it as a gallery and event space. We've had dinners for like 22 to 25 people. These dining chairs, also by Eugenio Escudero, and the upholstery is original. One day a dealer friend called me and said, "I found your chairs." So I've been looking for a big set because I love to entertain. This chair in the corner is actually one of my own design. It is a prototype for a chair for a restaurant, and it's called the Continuum. I worked with a very talented carpenter in Oaxaca, Israel, to get all of the details right, and he steam bent all the wood. It's made from a local tropical hardwood called parota that's sustainable. This cabinet of curiosities is also of my design. It came from my gallery in Oaxaca. It's cold rolled steel and shishugiban is the treatment for the wood. And almost all of the pieces actually in this cabinet are from Oaxaca. So I work with a collective of incredible women, and many of these are traditional forms. This one in particular is called a zapato, and it's for cooking beans. These two pictures were made during my very first residency in upstate New York at a place called Cray Garden, and they're made from porcelain. They were fired in a gas kiln, and I still like them, even though I made them 8 years ago. Over on this side of the room, there's some more of my ceramics, which are far more experimental. I've been working on this series that explores vulnerability and aging, and how do we come to terms with the more imperfect parts of ourselves and finding the beauty in that. So this one is called Corazon, and it's sort of an homage to the heart. This is high fire porcelain. I made it about 8 months ago, and it has, I make my own sculpting tools. So the base of it has lots of incised texture, and then the upper is burnished, so it's very, very smooth. And I glazed it just with a very simple white glaze. The collection of vessels on the table are both a combination of my work and some of a very good friend of mine, Lily Cortina. She was actually an architect for 20 years and then discovered clay. She comes from a really old family that's full of architects and artists. There was a migration from Japan to Mexico, and the ceramic traditions from Japan were brought over, And Lily actually studied with two of the best Japanese masters in Mexico City. So, for instance, this piece is thrown on the wheel and then hand altered. She also creates all of her own glazes, which I think are very beautiful. Some of these, in fact, I think this glaze, her family have had land in the country for a long time, and as the trees die, Lily has been burning them down and using the ash as the basis of the glazes in her work. And so if you look at this colour, the range of colour in these pieces, it's just so exquisite and subtle. The other thing that's really cool about Lily is not only does she make all of her own glazes, she makes all her own clay bodies. She really is a master and, has incredible devotion to her craft, and it's really apparent in the work. There's a couple of pieces of mine where these are also very experimental, where I'm playing with combinations of glazes that I'm also developing, and some more kind of just abstracting forms. So there's one more piece here that's very strange, but I kind of have a bit of a soft spot for it. Again, you can see this sort of relationship with this exploration of the body and entropy. These are two subjects that I just can't seem to get past. Okay, now that we've seen the dining room, come with me. Let me show you the living room. Welcome to my living room. It's definitely the coziest room in the house, and a room I spend a lot of time with my friends. When I first moved in, there was just this sort of raw steel bench here and these battleship grey cabinets that ran all the way around the room. So the first thing I did was create this custom, beautiful sectional that fits perfectly into the space. One of my favourite pieces of art in the house is this painting. It's by a New York artist. Her name is Samantha Keeley-Smith. She paints these psychological landscapes, and I love the quality of light in this work. It has almost a Turner-esque quality to it. And I am very honoured that Samantha actually gifted me this work as a thank you for a show we worked on together in San Francisco. My dogs, Sombra and Luna, love sleeping on these vintage alpaca pillows, which are the softest things you can imagine. I brought them back from Turkey. This ceramic piece is by an incredible Mexican woman artist, and it was made in the late 80s. I've been trying to track her down so that I can do a studio visit, because the other works I've seen of hers are so inspiring and radical. And then one of the other quirkier pieces in this room is this African drum, which I think dates from the 1960s. In Mexico City and Oaxaca, the sign of a good host is to always offer mezcal to your guests. And this mezcal is actually a small curatorial project of mine. We did a bottling of 70 of each of these. And my dear friend Alberto Franco, who I mentioned, the architect, has a side project with a 200-year-old printing press. So the labels were made with hand-set metal type and printed one by one on handmade paper. So yeah, they're kind of a precious object in and of themselves. Okay, so this is a quiche. It's 100% quiche. It was at least 15 years old. The maestro who made it, Tito Juan, is 85. He's a 5th generation maestro, which is a master distiller. He lives in a small town about 2.5 hours away from Oaxaca City. And One of the things I love most about his mezcals is you really taste the essence of the place and of the plant. In Mexican tradition, mezcal is actually considered a medicine and a curative, and people drink it to celebrate birth, they drink it to celebrate death, they drink it at every kind of fiesta, and it's revered, you know, it's not something that one is supposed to drink a lot of. It's really meant to be savoured. I mean, it's used to heal, which I think is very beautiful. So one of the things I love about my living room is it kind of has this like yin-yang quality. The left side is very luminous during the day and, you know, has these like very like lighter colours. And then we have the right side of the room, which is much moodier and kind of like almost feels like a nighttime space. It's anchored by this fantastic vintage Moroccan rug. It also features this wild 80s vintage Mexico City designed and made coffee table. So this gorgeous thing is made by a friend of mine, Diego, who has a glass blowing factory that he set up in Oaxaca City. I commissioned it from him, and it's just such a fun, organic. This technique is ancient, actually. It was developed in Venice, and the white lines actually fluoresce under UV lights. And it's just, it feels, you know, like this beautiful shell kind of form. And then it's contrasted by this Elsa Pirelli black glass bowl, which features this really fun porcelain chain that I made as a little experiment for a much larger piece that I still haven't got to. But I love the sound that it makes. Also in this room, I have a vintage Dunbar sofa that I imported from California. And this wonderful chair that's attributed to no one, but I found it at a vintage store in Marin in California. I ended up loading up a big truck and just bringing the things I couldn't live without when I first signed the lease on this house. So it was very, you know, perfect timing. This large painting is also by Samantha Keeley-Smith. It's a much earlier work of hers, and it's called The Lovers. This credenza I bought here, and I love how the marquetry on the doors reflects the pattern of the tile on the floor. You can see these sort of repeating diamonds. The top of the credenza features a whole assortment of ceramics. This piece in particular is quite spectacular. It is actually from the 1980s. It was made by an artist from Santa Fe, and it's made, the technique is called raku. And in order to get just the sharpness of the lines and just the balance of the form and the decoration, I think is just exquisite. This piece is one of mine. It was made during my Californian residency, and it looks like an ancient artifact that, you know, some archaeologist dug out of the ground. I play a lot in my work between the tension of this real rusticity and looseness and a lot of refinement. You know, for me, the house very much kind of led the way. There are so many different elements from my previous life in New York and San Francisco. I've become very interested in Mexican modernism and mid-century design, so you know, all of that learning has kind of informed kind of the style that I brought to the house. I think, you know, I would describe it as unconventional, There's an element of playfulness about the design here. I want it to be really cozy and inviting and a little bit challenging, you know. I want there to be elements that people ask questions about. Follow me this way and I'm going to show you my kitchen. It's one of my very favourite rooms in the house. So when I first found the house, the kitchen was un desastre. It had no gas. It really didn't have any running water. And I love to cook. And I also love terrazzo. And I wanted the kitchen to be this really joyful space. I love the stained glass windows. And I actually found 4 of the 3 missing panels that I'm planning to restore. And they actually are this whole cornucopia of like fruits and vegetables. And you know, it's like an homage to abundance and cooking, which I think is so special. I had the counters custom made by this all-girl team, Concreto Oscuro. And all of the colors of the house are actually in the terrazzo. This kitchen has this gorgeous view of the garden that I planted. I really wanted to, you know, as I said, Paris dropped into the jungle. I wanted my own jungle. So I have a mango tree and a beautiful banana tree, and I have guavas. It's quite special to be able to sit out there and also pick the fruit when it ripens in time. The cabinets are all custom. I designed the profiles. I had a fantastic cabinet maker here fabricate them. And, you know, I have a pretty regular Sunday dinner party in this kitchen. Coincidentally, there's an amazing farmer's market, organic farmer's market, like a 10-minute walk from here. And lately, we've been just getting the most delicious, tiny, tiny peppers that are super, super sweet. And all kinds of salad greens that I haven't seen before, which is really lovely. So my chef friend jokes that we eat a lot of weeds around here. So I have this crazy looking vessel, which came from Oaxaca. And this is traditional. This is how people in Oaxaca, you know, store all of their cooking implements. And I love that it's got these little sort of spiny cactus details. This is all handmade. It's made of indigenous clay and it's fired in a pit-fired oven. They dig a hole in the ground and use wood and straw and little bits of copper to get these beautiful smoke kind of effects on the vessel. And of course, all of the utensils are handmade in Oaxaca as well. So I believe originally this was the actual cooking kitchen. And I think there was like a big, you know, cooking surface here. But by the time I got here, that had gone. And it's a delight to be able to have all my cookbooks in one place. I also have a whole collection of ceramics that I've made that we eat off. And these are actually prototypes for a whole dinner set that I have in development. I particularly love this bronze Temuku glaze and this very temperamental but beautiful black clay that I work with quite a lot. The table is from the 1800s and it came from England. I brought it from San Francisco and I found these original Joseph Hoffman chairs here in Mexico City. So there was quite a big migration from Germany because of Volkswagen and their factories here. And those families brought their furniture with them. And this chair is incredibly iconic. It has a label underneath it says it was made in 1890. So that's kind of great. One of the quirkiest things in my kitchen is this mask up here. It's vintage. It's called El Tigre, and it comes from Guerrero. So in May, they have this festival where they do these dances and rituals for the rains to come. And the men, this is made out of leather and boar's hair and is hard as a rock. And the men wear these things on their heads and then proceed to beat each other with chains and rope. And in this, great expression of virility and offering, they do these dances and stuff, as a prayer to the gods for rain. And I just love how playful, the design of this thing is, even though it's got this kind of violent, connotation. So I'd like to invite you into my garden. It's kind of a secret garden. When I first found the house, the garden was a bit of a ruin. It was basically a big collection of weeds. And I'd always wanted, just to bring the jungle, into my home. And a lot of the plants here are actually indigenous and, do really, really well in this climate, which was important. In my garden, we often have cocktail parties. We set a big table here with lots of candles at night, and we fire up the grill, and it's just very romantic. I also have a little spot where the DJ goes, and we have been known to dance out here. I guess maybe the most precious plant for me in the garden is this fern. It's an Australian tree fern, and it's a living fossil. They're very beautiful, but for me it's just such a lovely reminder of where I come from. And it also makes me really happy that both the tree fern and I are thriving here in Mexico City. One of the plants that was here when we first found the house was this extraordinary banana palm. It was kind of looking very sad. It was about half the size. But, I've been spending, I think having all these wonderful plant companions and lots of water has inspired it to really flourish. And one of the coolest things I heard from my gardener is it's the only banana plant in all the gardens he takes care of that's actually fruiting. And so I have a feeling I'm going to have a party and celebration when they're ripe. We're going to have a banana party. You're all invited. I think one of the other things that I've really learned here is it's very important to listen. I always think about what am I bringing, not what am I taking from this place. I think it's, it will take me a lifetime to understand, the subtleties of the culture here. And I'm here for it. I mean, I really, Spanish is a fantastic language. It's full of double entendres. It's hilarious. And that's also been a surprise as well. I mean, Mexico City is possibly the most sophisticated city I've ever encountered. The food, the dining scene here, the art and design scene, it's incredibly inclusive. And when you go to the Anthropology Museum, it's awe-inspiring because this culture, is founded on something that is really ancient. And, there's science, technology, engineering, everything that, is pre-Hispanic is so evolved. So, yeah, I mean, they're the big takeaways for me from Mexico City. Okay, so we've seen downstairs. Let me take you upstairs. I have a lot to show you. So here we are in the upstairs landing. These ceramics are some pieces I made during my time in California, my residency there. And this wonderful kind of Noguchi-inspired table I found at Lagunilla, which is one of the most popular flea markets in Mexico City. And I love the contrast of the kind of the rusticity and the kind of a little bit of the brutalist in it, with the refinement of like the chandeliers and this beautiful ceiling. So I had these light fixtures custom made. You notice in the house there's this repetition of these globes, and originally these moldings weren't wired, only the ones on the other side, and I was like, that's crazy. So now I have these like beautifully bookended sconces that kind of reflect back at each other, and you know, I just super happy with this kind of scale of them, and also the contrast between, you know, this like Victorian kind of molding and this very geometric contemporary wall sconce. This is the master bedroom. For me, bedrooms are all about tranquility. I designed this bed. It's custom made from black walnut, and I had it shipped from California. So one of my favorite things in this room is one of the things that I've had for the longest. It's this mask here. I call him the old man of the sea. I bought him for myself actually when I was 15 years old from an older friend of mine who had an incredible vintage store that I used to sometimes help out in. And he's hand-carved. I think he's from the 1920s too, but he's overseen me and, you know, has been kind of my guardian, I think, ever since then. Yeah, he's pretty precious. The side tables are really fascinating too. They are made with this beautiful marble that is full of fossils. And these are also a Lagunilla find. The lamps are from the 1930s. They're Carrera marble, and they came from New York. So this charming chair is one of my favorite things too. It was designed and made by Don Shoemaker, and I reimagined it while I had my gallery in Oaxaca. One of the guys who used to make the cute furry sandals actually gave me this goat skin, which he'd naturally tanned. And I just like love the contrast, you know, between the texture of the fur and just the beautiful, beautiful graining in this tropical hardwood. The chair weighs a ton. So here we are in the master bathroom. It was also a great disaster when I first saw it. It was yellow and this Tiffany blue and black and white and this weird emerald green sink that jutted out really far. And the toilet was on this excruciating angle. So we had to rip it all out. And I worked with this fantastic tile maker to recreate this tile in the same style as you see in the rest of the house. We have this fantastic custom cabinetry because I don't like to see anything out. And the same gravestone maker made this beautiful terrazzo countertop for me. And again, you know, we've got the green and the black and some of the other colors reflected from the bathroom in the countertop. So I went to art school. I started out and then I did an apprenticeship as a milliner, which is, you know, a hat maker, which is like the most anachronistic thing you could probably do. But hats are incredibly architectural. After I did that, I actually went back to school, studied interior design and industrial design, and then did a postgrad in interaction design and became a technologist for 15 years and a creative director. That took me to New York City. I was the creative director at iHeartRadio for 5 years. And one of my favorite things about that job was actually designing sets for the artists who came to play in our theater in Tribeca. During that time, I bought my first apartment in Brooklyn Heights, which was like an amazing moment. And then I had friends starting to ask me, hey, you know, I love what you did with your house. Would you work on mine? And so I found myself with this whole other career as an interior designer. I eventually moved to San Francisco, started my own firm there, and then began working with other bigger design firms on conceptual design, stuff like that. And now I have a sometime gallery here. I've been doing curation for other galleries. I've been showing my work during Zona Marco and Design Week. I'm about to start an interior design project, but the most exciting project that I have here, and it's been a big dream project of mine for 20 odd years, is working on this cultural clubhouse and hotel in this gorgeous, gorgeous building built in 1910. It was formerly a nunnery. It's built in the Porphyrian style, and the nuns have taken incredible care of it, so it's like a time capsule. This house has a few surprises. I call this the closet to Narnia, because it leads to my favorite room in the house, which is my ceramic studio. In my studio, I create a mixture of functional and sculptural works. I do a lot of work on my wheel. Right now, I'm doing a new set of dinnerware in porcelain. And I love just like the little details of like how the foot is here and my little mark. I have been commissioned by a friend in New York and she wants a lot. So she'll be quite upset that I'm wasting my time today instead of being at work. But yeah, I mean, I like to focus on the thinness and just, you know, really reducing the form to its purest version of itself. I've also been working on this series of cups, and there's a real mixture, and you can see, you know, as I've been talking about this sort of mixture of the raw, you know, mixed with the refined. So these like really pretty, just pure forms, as opposed to this cup, which is a Japanese technique where you actually carve the clay once it's leather hard. And it has this like really fun little base. So this will be for tea. So this sculptural piece is inspired by like my time by the ocean, you know, and the way that water carves away stone. Again, this idea of entropy, how, you know, we don't necessarily have control over what's removed in our lives, and yet the spaces, you know, that are created actually give more balance and beauty. And that's only something I've begun to understand as I've gotten older. When you're younger, you know, it just feels like loss instead of spaciousness. And spaciousness creates opportunity. And I guess the other thing I really love about my studio is this unfettered view of the garden. You know, it's just so green and lush, and the birds come to visit, and, you know, it's a very, like, I always have the doors open, and so it almost feels like I'm outside when I'm working here. I am the child of immigrants. I'm first generation Australian. I never really felt at home there, as lovely a country as it is. And I think I've spent a lot of my life searching for this illusion, like elusive idea of home. Home for me is about the people in one's life. You know, it's about family, both found and, you know, blood. And I mean, home for me is also about a place where I can invite all of that in, you know, and a space that allows for creation. And I have to say that moving to Mexico City, I have found my home.
Bienvenido. Come on in. Welcome to my home in Mexico City. I'm Henrietta.
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story.
Hello, I'm Henrietta Lovell. They call me the Tea Lady. I have a tea company. I've had a tea company for 21 years. Welcome to my home in Mexico City. This is a 1950s, a mid-century building. Mexico City's architecture, the 20s and the 50s were really some great highlights. There was incredible work done across the city, and every building here is different. That's what makes Mexico City such a fabulous place to live. There are no terraces. I came from Primrose Hill. My flat in London was in Primrose Hill, which is all this beautiful Regency terrace. Now I live in a building which is completely different from every other building. We worked hand in hand with the owner of the building, who is an amazing Mexican artist, to keep the building in its original bones exactly as it was. This is the original floor, those are the original tiles, this is the original concrete. Nothing has been changed. All we did really was clean it up, make sure it was put back into the best condition we could. And then we filled it with a container full of furniture from our homes. My husband was living in Denmark and I was living in London. We shared homes between those two places. And so we brought all our stuff from Denmark and London in a container across the water and put it in this amazing space. When we moved here, because my husband has 4 children, 4 beautiful, amazing boys, and their mother moved back to California, where she was from, and we wanted to be close to them. We also have always loved Mexico, and it's no hardship in any way at all to be living here. We wake up every morning and we're like, oh, I can't believe I live here. It's the most wondrous place to live. So as you come in, walk into the living room, and it's in 3 sections. The first is a bar area. I love making cocktails. I feel like a drinks cabinet is like a kitchen cabinet for other people. I mean, drinks are my specialty, and I love combining flavors. I blend my own whiskey. I make cocktails and shake them and martinis. So this has a rather lovely story. My first flat in London was tiny, and the sitting room and the kitchen were the same room. And I didn't want kitchen cupboards because they would take all the space and the light. And also I love to see everything. So I found this in architectural salvage. It's actually a Victorian shop cabinet, and it would have been on the ground. It has a glass top, and it was black, really thick paint, and I stripped it all back by hand myself, and I will never do that job again. And the sad thing was I couldn't do the doors because it was too fine. I thought I was going to smash it, so I actually had to send it to a professional to do the doors. So I mean, I could have just done the whole thing, man. Never mind. It's come with me every single place, and it gives me huge pleasure to have it in my life. And I have glasses for everything. Some of them I inherited, some of them I found in different places around the world. These mostly come from Hastings on the south coast of England, where I found collections. And my husband loves a king and queen cup, as he calls them. We have a whole collection of cups that celebrated marriages and coronations and kings and queens of England through the years. Some of them are very, very old. Some of them are more modern. Like this one is for the First World War, 1914 to 1919. I have one from Queen Victoria. I mean, some of them are more modern. I think I have a Lady Di somewhere. We use them too. All of the beautiful things that we have, we like to use, because what's the point of having them for best? To touch them, to use them, to drink tea from them. That's the pleasure of life. And I have some lovely teapots too. Look at this one. how the lid comes off. And it was so precious that they had it fixed when it broke with a lead seal. Amazing. And my decanters, I also inherited from my parents. My dad was a whiskey drinker. My mum liked gin. I have rum. I have everything. You can tell I'm not an alcoholic because there actually is stuff in the bottles. My husband's stereo is a very important. This is maybe the soul of the house. There's always music playing. And this is very hygge from Denmark. These are Danish candlesticks, a little collection of Danish candlesticks so we can make a cozy, warm evening. And these chairs I got in London from an antique shop, because I loved the curve of the wood of the arms. And it's so interesting because this table also has amazing curved wood feet. I mean, and I bought them at very different times. But this chair is one of 6 that I had, and I bought them from the street in the Bowery in about 2001 when I lived in New York. And they all got trashed over the years, moving around the world, especially this part, the wicker. And here in Mexico, I found somebody who could fix it for me. So this one's been reupholstered, or re-wickered rather. It's the original velvet. And this is the dining area. I found this beautiful 50s table in Mexico City, and the chairs, and the bench. And they have really fit with the building, with the concrete. We kept the ceiling as it is. That's the original concrete, and I just feel like it shows the bones of the building in a beautiful way. And some of my favorite treasures are on the table. I love to eat here. I have lots of beautiful cutlery, and I could have made up the table, with beautiful plates and knives and, beautiful glasses. But when we're not eating, I like to display some of my treasures. And this is the most beautiful sculpture. Look at her tender face that I got in Tokyo from an amazing Japanese sculptor. I think his name is Takemoshi. And these I gave to my mum, and I inherited back again. This is my dad's favorite flower. And this I got when I was visiting the kids in Sonoma County from an old junk shop. Some plants. Now this is, if a teapot isn't functional as a teapot, because it's missing a part, like the lid, it's also very cool to be a plant pot. And both of these guys are missing their lids. So they've become plant pots. But how cool is this little fellow? Look at this hairy cactus. And these are the dahlias from the garden that I plucked for you so that we have beautiful flowers on the table. And then we move from the dining room into the sitting room, the place we crash out and lie on the sofa, probably looking at Instagram. And I actually spend quite a lot of time here on the chaise. Got a big pile of books. This is my favorite new one from my friend Michael Z, Breakfast in China, that I've just started reading. And the Hockney's doing an amazing exhibition in Paris at the moment. I'm dying to go and see. And this is a really good place to watch the sunset. It sets right over there, or the rain in the summertime. We have thunderstorms. And I got this in Sussex. And so I had it reupholstered here in Mexico. There's so many great people who can fix things. And that's what I love about Mexico, is that people don't throw things away, they fix them. And this is a really good example. This is a Chinese urn that I got from my mum. And when my brother and sister were kids, they smashed it. And it was in terrible pieces, and my mum treasured it so much. And she didn't have enough money to have it fixed, so she did it herself. Took her months, starting from the bottom. She glued it all together, and you could see every bit of glue and her rather amateur mending. And on the way here, it was one of the things that got smashed in the move. Very few things, most things made it, but this didn't. But I found a museum curator who could make it even better than it was. It looks like new. I mean, how amazing is that? That's my mum. It's my granny. This is some smoking lady we found in Mexico City. No, sorry, in Denmark. Just a few ladies. That's my great aunt Katie being presented to the Queen, as you do. That's my wall of famous ladies. Some of my favorite pink and red plants. But this guy, well, she's a woman, isn't she? This beautiful lady, I think she's a mermaid. She's a sculpture from Sussex, from Hastings. by a fisherman from a bit of driftwood. I think she is really amazing. And behind that is a 50s painting of Jerusalem that my mum treasured. And she's there so it doesn't get any light. And this sculpture here was from a friend of mine when she was a student at Edinburgh University. It's one of her pieces for this little nymph. And she couldn't carry it, she couldn't take it when she was leaving Edinburgh, so she gave it to me, and I've taken it around the world ever since I was a student in Edinburgh when I was 19, 20 years old. This sofa is from Copenhagen. It's a super comfy, lovely thing to lie on, and I have a real fondness for this mustard yellow. My flat in London, I used to have a lot of yellow walls, and it looked really amazing there. But there's so much light in Mexico, you don't need to paint things color. This is the first time I've had a white house. Before I really brought a lot of color in, because, you know, I lived in damper, gloomier places. But here, I feel like there's enough color just out of the window and with the plants and the furniture. This is a photo from my husband's book, from the photo shoot we did in Copenhagen. That's our friend Ben, showing off the baguette. He just got a James Beard Award, by the way, for his book, Richard Hart Bread, if you would like a James Beard Award-winning book. We both have awards, actually. I have an award-winning book called Infused Adventures in Tea, which is about the farmers and the places I go to buy tea and the places we drink it. So it's not a boring book about tea, it's more an adventure story. We actually chose this apartment even though it was full of pigeons and wasn't ready to move in. We had to wait 8 months to get it ready, possibly a bit longer, because of the kitchen. My husband loves to cook. Before he became a baker, he was a chef. And hosting and having people around to eat is an absolutely essential part of our lives. And he didn't want to be tucked away in a kitchen somewhere off somewhere and not be part of the party. And some of the houses here and the flats here, especially the older apartments, have a very separate kitchen, and it's very small. And we wanted a place where we could feel at home and entertain. So it's got a very open kitchen, and that makes a huge difference. And you would think that Richard would not want to cook when he comes home because he's baking all day, but it's his joy. And on Sunday, which is in 2 days, he's opening his first bakery here in Mexico City called Green Rhino. And you'll see a few rhinos around the place because they're one of his son Jude's favorite animal. And it was named after one of his son's favorite color and favorite animal, green rhino. And it's a little bit nerve-wracking. He'd love to be here today, but he can't because he's doing all the preparation and the excitement of opening what he hopes will be one of the best bakeries in the world here in Mexico City. So you move from the sitting room into the kitchen. The kitchen is the sitting room. We spend a lot of time sitting here, eating here, talking here. Richard will be cooking and I'll be reading or talking, drinking tea. This beautiful cabinet my brother made me when he was at school in carpentry class. Can you believe it? And this is where I keep, you know, some of my most precious teacups and my tea things and like my silver toast racks, very important. And like my gravy boat and my soup tureen, like a few little things that are precious, they stay there. And then this area is really my tea area. So that part of the kitchen is Richard's, this part of the kitchen is mine, and this is where I have all my teapots and the stuff that I use every day. So these are very everyday teapots that you can take out into the garden, not going to break. And I have a temperature-controlled kettle. So people always ask me, I only sell loose-leaf tea. I have never sold a tea bag. There is absolutely nothing eco-friendly about a tea bag. Whatever it's made of, it's still single use of precious resources. And then to turn wood into paper or corn into plastic, silken mesh, you need industrial chemicals, bleaches, glues, carbon, all kinds of chemicals which you're going to then infuse with your tea. So it's not good for the environment, single use of precious resources. It's not good for you. Well, who knows what you're drinking with your tea. And it's not really the best way to make tea. It needs room to expand. So these are all loose leaf teas, beautiful, precious, lovely teas. And I take my tea and I put it in a teapot, right? It's not terribly complicated. You can have a lovely collection of tea caddy spoons. Make the pleasure all the more when you take your tea out. But you've got 3 things to worry about. How much tea you put in your teapot. It's a very simple one. Nice little glass one. I was making tea for 1. This is a micromilligram scale in case I want to be super accurate, because tea is precious, right? People might think that was a drug scale, but my drugs are good for you, healthy and delightful. But every bit is precious. And I might put a spoon of tea into the teapot. And then I'm going to choose the temperature. So my kettle is, and people get confused, this is a teapot, this is a kettle, this makes hot water, has a temperature control on it so that I can decide what temperature I have. So I'm going to control how much leaf I put in, maybe measuring it, what temperature the water is, and then how long I infuse it for. And if I can control those 3 things, I can get myriad flavors from my tea. So that's all it takes. And I have all the things I need to make delicious tea here. This is just a small selection. I have a massive collection of tea, and teapots, and teacups, but like that's all I can fit here. And this is it's quite fun. This is my freedom of the city of London. I'm a free person, a free woman of London, which means I can walk my sheep over London Bridge, should I so want to. I know, strange but true. This side is Richard's side, and you're going to see lots of chopping boards. He loves wooden chopping boards, no plastic. A wooden chopping board is really great for keeping things clean and safe. The bacteria much less likely to grow on wood or flourish on wood. And he finds them things of real beauty. There's bread, of course, and a beautiful bread knife. Oh, and over here, look at this. This is my little nursery. These are some alpine strawberries and some tomatoes that are just on their precious way. And they have to be right here so I can look after them on a daily basis. And my cactus growing in my cracked water jug. A comal for tortilla. This is for making beans. This is a lovely old piece of English ceramic, a cabbage dish. And I love the mix of the beautiful handmade Mexican barro rojo. And in fact, I fix this myself. This one is super precious. I think I mend all my clothes. I try and mend anything that breaks or reuse it. And this is my egg cup that I had when I was a child, Peter Rabbit. And I collect also egg cups, which I love very much. So we have a bit of an obsession with wooden spoons. We have a lot, but we try and find like handmade ones. This was made by my friend Dear Jane. And you know, like they're just lovely things to touch and feel. And for Richard, it's knives. Like he's a chef, he's obsessed with his knives. He has a beautiful collection, and some of them are made by friends. This is made by Padre, a friend of mine. These are from Japan. This is from Fingal Ferguson in Ireland, who makes beautiful knives. He's also a farmer, full-time. He made these ones. This is his and hers. It's one of my first knife with a power shell handle. This is a Lovell heirloom. This is a carving knife before stainless steel. So this is just steel, which is not just untreated with a bone handle. I know, and that's for making they've been used so much that they've worn down, these 2 carving knives. And there's the fork that you use to stab the roast when you're making your Sunday roast. And these are our newest ones. We were just in Madrid not long ago, and it's just some cheese knives. Oh, and Richard has about 15 different kinds of salt. So we have different chickens for different salts. Richard does love his coffee, and that's perfectly okay. I love coffee too. If you love delicious flavors, it's not limited just to tea. I love whiskey, I love sake, I love tea, I love coffee, and it can be a very lovely part of your life. And so some of our biggest treasures these are pictures of Richard with his boys. And these pots, do you see this pair of pots? When I was a kid, we had them in my house, and I was so embarrassed. I was like, Mom, why do we have to have these really ugly pots? They're so hideous. And I was like, she was like, no, darling, they're not hideous. And I was really embarrassed about them. And then when she died, I was like, I need those pots. Then my brother and sister were like, you can have them. Are you crazy? But they've become like super treasures in my life, and I love having them around. And they fit very nicely with Richard's Madonnas and Ganesh. And this was a present. I supplied the tea for Chateau Marmont, and that was a present from André Bellage. And this is a guy who makes the decals on our teacups and teapots. So if you're a very famous restaurant and you want to have, or a hotel, and you want to have your own bone china from England, and you want to have your own unique painting on the side, a decal, this guy Tom Berry does it for us, and he made this for me. And his bread baskets. There's bread baskets everywhere. And we're lucky enough, it's a bit of a mess, but we're lucky enough to have a larder as well, which is full of English things like Marmite and English mustard. And this is my school. You know, when you were at school and you had school lunch, we used to have to wear an apron so we didn't get our clothes dirty. This is my original one. Snoopy. I still use it when I'm cooking. I can mostly keep the food off my clothes when I'm eating, mostly, but cooking absolutely not. I began Rare Tea Company in 2004, and I'd been working in corporate America, and I'd had the chance to travel into China, and I'd found these amazing teas that people think that England is a tea drinking country, and we do, but I didn't have access to amazing teas from China when I was a kid. Everything was in a tea bag from the supermarket, and I kind of thought that's what tea was. And then I traveled into China and I drank oolongs and white teas and green teas, and I fell deeply, deeply in love. I remember being given a cup of oolong that cost $50. This is back in like 2000. And I was like, how can it cost $50? And then I drank that tea and I was like, oh my God. You know, it's like imagine if you love wine and all you'd ever had was something from a plastic bladder in a cardboard box, and you say, okay, that's wine. And then somebody gives you a beautiful small vineyard, perfectly, carefully grown grapes, crafted into an incredible champagne. And then you drank it, you're like, oh, there's a whole other world out there. So I fell in love with this world, and I decided to make it my life. And it gave me an access into people's lives. Some of the times where I felt success as being the tea lady and running Red Tea have actually been times when I've got to go places that I never imagined I'd get to go. So it's not just meeting the farmers around the world, going to Malawi and Nepal, and being involved in people's lives there, and getting to see really remote, incredible places. But also I get to go to restaurants. So I sell a lot of tea to hospitality, to restaurants and hotels around the world, and I get to work right beside chefs and sommeliers. So René Redzepi and Noma in Copenhagen, Daniel Calvert in Cezanne in Tokyo, Claridge's Hotel in London. I work with Gordon Ramsay, like household names, Nancy Silverton. Alice Waters uses my tea in her restaurant Lulu in LA. I mean, I get to go and have these extraordinary culinary adventures as well as the traveling. It's a huge privilege and a joy. And I learn all the time. This is our kind of library, TV room. I don't watch a lot of TV, but I do read a lot. And this is some of our collection of books. But also this structure allows me to have a place for all my little tiny things look at this little thing. My mum brought this back from New York for me when I was a little girl. It's such a treasure. And these were my dad's toys from when he was a little boy in Argentina, where he grew up. Look, that little wooden pig. What were you going to do with something like that? And so I have all these special things that I love, and they tell a story of my childhood or my parents' childhood, my husband's records, my records. These are hat molds that I got in Denmark for plush hats, which I wear a lot of hats. Everything. This is a muffin dish. This is for keeping your muffins in. English muffins. They had their own special chafing dish. Just so when I'm watching television and I get distracted, I have all these things to look at. And then these are mostly Richard's cookery books and some poetry. I got this rug from a junk shop, rather than an antique shop in Copenhagen, and it took a lot of hoovering and washing to get it to come back to color again. And this huge treasure is a handmade quilt that I got as a wedding present from one of our farmers that I work with in India. Her name is Nayan Lilybank. It's her and her family. The farm is called Lakrasiu in Meghalaya in India. And what an amazing present to give someone. And she brought it, well, her son brought it all the way from India for me. I mean, it's just the most exquisite thing. And these are some of my collection of beautiful boxes. This box is actually a kimono box. You would keep your precious kimonos in it, and I keep some of my most precious teacups inside. You can see some of my little tiny cups. This one is a really beautiful old one. This means big in Chinese. This would be the oldest son's cup, probably. And this is an old deed box where you'd keep your special papers, like your marriage certificate and your wedding certificate, and I keep old photographs in here. I mean, from my family, my parents, on the night they met. And this is an old biscuit tin when I was growing up. We used to keep our biscuits in it, and now I keep my button collection, which I also inherited from my mother, who probably inherited it from her mother. And so this is where we keep our novels, but this is where we dry our clothes. I don't believe in tumble dryers. It's a waste of energy and electricity. You can just air dry them. It's so warm here. It comes all the way from England. And with us, as do our books. These are mostly my books, all my novels, all my treasured friends. You know, I don't want to live without them. And I share them with people, and I read them again. And it's just an important part of life to have your books with you, I think. So welcome to my garden. I'm a bit of an obsessive about plants. I love to grow things, especially from seeds or from little cuttings. I get huge joy about seeing things come up. So this is my little citrus nursery. These are all citrus, different citruses, oranges, lemons, tangerines. This is this year and this is last year. You can see this guy is really thriving. I mean, it makes me so happy, but I have to be really attentive. And I've been growing all kinds of things from seeds that I found in the streets, so that when a plant produces its seed pod, like this, and it's dried out, I collect the seeds and I plant them in my garden. So I'm like bringing all the lovely plants from the street up here. And this is an onion. I think these are actually bananas. This is types of oregano, air plants, which are from Mexico. That's where they originated, and he just lives on this frangipani, which smells amazing. Got a bit obliterated in the rain just recently. And I found this geranium from a cutting in the street, and I love this pale pink colour. So this huge monster grew from a tiny little leaf that two leaves that I plucked from somewhere in the street. This is a hibiscus. You can make tea from the calyx. Different coloured hibiscuses, figs with figs. This one's just ripening. This is the second harvest of the year. And I've got lots more to have if I can get them before the birds. But these are doing pretty good. Honeysuckle. I mean, I grow a lot of things for the smell. And this is a passion fruit. Look at its amazing flowers. And I get fruit from this. You wouldn't believe it. In Mexico City, you can not just have figs on your balcony, but passion fruit, and they'll ripen sweet and delicious. And I'm going to have a big harvest this year, I think. Here's potatoes, because I love potatoes. And you might think, Mexico, you're going to get potatoes. It's America, but it's South America that has potatoes. And Mexico is very much more of a corn-based country, so there isn't the big selection of potatoes that we get back in Europe. And I love them, so I have to grow my own, even a few. And the view is pretty amazing. You can see the mountains on the horizon all the way around. We're in a bowl up here in Mexico City on the top of a volcano. Water actually boils at a much lower temperature here because we're so high. It's 92 degrees Celsius. It's 8 degrees lower than it would in London. And we're so lucky with this incredible atmosphere, climate. And the terrace goes all the way along. This is a bird of paradise that does flower. And this is a papaya, and I had 2 papaya from it this year. They've been harvested. And the flowers smell amazing. And can you believe it? Papaya. And more geraniums. And these are dahlias. They are also indigenous to Mexico. And I have some inside. I plucked the flowers. Ferns, black-eyed Susies. And look at the cactus. But look, these guys have had so many babies, are so happy. And this is the guy who has the one flower a night. These are the flowers. And he's actually fruiting. This is lemongrass to make tea. More oregano, climbing oregano. We have more cactus, rosemaries. I mean, how lucky am I to have a terrace like this? It's amazing. And I bring all the plants inside too, because I'm not satisfied, haven't got enough. I'm so proud of this guy. This guy grew from like this big. I got him in a tin can, in a beer can on the street. Find it 10 pesos or something. And these guys are pretty impressive too. They're super happy. Look at this furry one. He's actually soft. This is a little bit of a nursery of some new guys growing. This fellow that we use as a doorstop, I inherited from my grandfather, from my great-grandfather, who knows, my great-great. And it's for taking your boots off when you've been riding. You put your one foot on here, and then you put your other foot here so you can pull your boot off without bending down, getting muddy. We've incorporated some beautiful Mexican pieces into our lives. I found these amazing mid-century Mexican pieces that fit very beautifully in this home. And I love the eclecticness of bringing them to, in combining them. Like, this is my mum's desk chair. I lost my parents, and I couldn't bear to get rid of their things, so a lot of the things in this house are treasured pieces that come from my family, that's been handed down from generation to generation, or things we found in antique shops in Denmark, in Copenhagen, where my husband has some bakeries, Heart Bakery. And everything is chosen because we really, really love it. And I think you feel that about things, you know, I feel they have a sense of joy in them when you love them. It might not be to everyone's taste, you know, like tastes are very eclectic, but if someone has put together a home of things that they really love, I think you sense the joy in it. So, I mean, it's a maximalist, eccentric, full of stuff that means something to me. I could tell you the story of every single thing in this house and why I love it, or why my husband loves it. I want everybody to feel welcome when they first come into my home. I don't want you to feel like you're not good enough, or I'm too pompous. I hate pomposity. So the first thing I always do is offer someone a cup of tea, give them something to eat. I think hospitality is incredibly important. And then I let them make themselves at home. We have a lot of people to stay. We're very lucky that we have here 5 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms. It's by far the biggest house I've ever lived in my entire life. Like, you know, London and Copenhagen, your homes are much smaller. But we do that because there are 4 boys, Richard's 4 boys, and want them each to have their own place and their own space in our home. But they're not here all the time, so we get to have guests to come and stay. And I really love that. The one time that, you know, you might feel a bit awkward in my house is if you tried to put my really nice teacups in the dishwasher. Quite an eclectic collection of pictures. I'll put up anything that I like. And this is a lovely friend of ours, Carlos Pellicer, an amazing Mexican painter. And I took these when I was stuck from going out the house very much, when I had chemotherapy a long time ago. And I went to the park for the first time, and I felt like I had been behind bars. And, just some lovely things I picked up along the way. The bathrooms I keep very simple because I don't think you need clutter in the bathrooms. But I do keep some cuttings, some geraniums and things that are growing roots in the nice damp air and the sun of the windowsill. So we have so many rooms. We sleep in a number of bedrooms, but this is one of them. This one has my mum's desk. It's a beautiful old writing desk. And I like to write letters here. Who doesn't love getting a letter? And it sits by some paintings that are important to me. These are by my friend Amy Bay from Portland in Oregon. She did these, and some of them were just things I picked up along the way. This was from my bedroom as a child. This was a wedding present. It's a picture of Walthamstow by my friend Ross. This was my cousin Ridian. This was a thing that my mum got, a picture that my mum got on her birthday in 1955. And these were wedding gifts from Richard's sister. Some beautiful stones, and these are casts of leaves. I mean, they're just precious things. And some rhinos, even a green rhino. And like, you remember I showed you that little mouse? This is his friend that I somehow managed to keep my whole life. He's lost his bit of paper, but he came from New York in the 80s, 90s. 80s maybe. And some worry women, some shells, some hagstones from the beach in south of England. All kinds of little things that we've collected that I don't want too much clutter in the room, but just a few little things. These are some silver shillings. I don't try and have too many things, just a few little things to look at in the bedroom. And this room is more about the view. There's almost nothing in this room apart from some photos, because I like looking out the window when I'm lying in bed. But if it's dark and you've got the curtains closed, I couldn't bear to look at the white wardrobes. It was just too blank. So I painted them. I painted something that I could get lost in. So these, some old family photos. These are my mum, my dad, me and my dad. I must have been about 7. Yeah, I miss them. It's nice to have them around. This was a gentleman's compact wardrobe where you had everything in its place, from your hat to your dress shirts to your pajamas. Obviously, I put in whatever I want to put in, not what you're supposed to. And I did these pictures years and years ago when I lived in Malta. And I found looking at the white wardrobe when the curtains were closed, the blinds were down, was a bit too stark. So I tried to bring those over there and something to get lost in a little bit. I painted that one there. It's not the most professional thing, but in the lovely dark light and sometimes in candlelight, it's just quite relaxing and mesmerizing. But yeah, other than that, I think a lamp and a book is the real, and probably a cable for your phone is all you need in a bedroom. And I'm absolutely obsessed with lovely linens. I love linen sheets. I have, linen everything, and I love having some good quality pillows. I change my pillows quite regularly. I buy new pillows, but getting into a cool linen bed is like one of the most amazing things. My favorite thing about this place could well be the space, the light. We're on the top floor here. This is the penthouse, I guess, and I can see the mountains at night and see the lights of the people living in the hills, their homes. I mean, I have a huge horizon of mountains, all the city in front of me. The sunset's amazing. When there's a thunderstorm, it's like a movie show. It's extraordinary to have that. The apartment we lived in Copenhagen was on the ground floor, and sometimes the light never came in. And it was, tragic, and I promised myself I would live at the top. Oh, and the birds in the morning, the sound. Wow, it's incredible. And hummingbirds even. Where my husband is, where Richard is. I could be anywhere with him. We've traveled, we've both lived lots of places. He's also a Londoner, but he's lived in California where he was working at Tartine, and he's lived in Copenhagen, and we can make a home anywhere. And in Mexico, we've been made to feel really, really welcome. And it's really easy our neighbors are super kind. Everyone offers to help. And what can we do to make your life better? Come to our house, come and have a drink, come and eat. So that really helps you feel at home. And this time, having all my things with me, I know that sounds a little materialistic, but I've moved before. I've lived in New York and places, and I just took a few things, feeling quite temporary, transient, free. But now I'm a little older, and I really wanted to make this my home. I needed my things and my treasures. I think having no parents, they died, and I wanted to have their things around me as well to make me feel the continuity of my past and my history and my family. So you'll see around the place all kinds of traces of peoples from other times. It's been lovely showing you around. I've loved talking about all my little treasures and showing you everything. But I've got to get to the bakery. Green Rhino's opening in 2 days, so I'll see you later. See you in Mexico.
Hi, Homeworthy. I'm Ricardo. Welcome to my home in Mexico City. Come on in.
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story.
My name is Ricardo Barroso. I'm an architect. I studied architecture and I went to work in an architectural firm in Mexico City many years ago. And after a while, I decided to open my own practice. And I grew up from there. And then during 2007, the market crashed. I decided to go on another direction, which was interior design. I became the first interior designer in Mexico because back in the day, nobody did it. In 2019, I got a client from Spain to do the Four Seasons Hotel and Residences, the residences. So I moved to Spain, opened an office over there, and moved there, but then COVID hit. So I had to reanalyze my situation and where I was in the world in the day. So I decided, after carefully watching all my social media and my friends in Miami, having such a good time, I decided to go to Miami to explore what could be done in Miami. So I opened an office in Miami and started working over there. And so now, today, I have offices in Madrid, Spain, in Miami, Florida, and in Mexico City. Half of my family is from Spain, and half of my family is from Mexico. So I have all these beautiful antiques that my family from Spain brought from Europe many years ago. And my family from Mexico is also half Italian and half Mexican. So I'm a mixture of all of those. It was funny because I used to be very contemporary. You know, all my homes were very contemporary. As you might, if you go on my website, you could see all my style. It ranges from really contemporary to really classic, no? And so at the beginning, I was all contemporary. And one day, my mother came into my house and she said, you know, maybe it's time for you to grow up as a designer. And I said, what do you mean? And she says, well, you see, you have all this beautiful furniture, but it's all contemporary. And you have to incorporate a little bit of antiques to it. So I started mixing it, and it's very tricky to mix antiques in contemporary. So one never knows which one, it's too much going to the antiques or too much going to the contemporary. So my home is a bit of that. It's like my laboratory where I can mix and match and see what works and what doesn't work. And so it's a very cozy place. It's a little bit of everything. I think it tells the story of who I am today. Maybe tomorrow my house will be different, but today I'm this. Welcome to my living room, where you can see the first thing you see when you walk in the house is this beautiful boiserie table by Erica Bronson, which is wonderful. It's from 20th century. You can see my beautiful quartz. I love stones, as you can see throughout the house. You will see I have a beautiful quartz and amethysts and jades and malachites and all these beautiful stones. And my favorite flower in the world, the orchids. In all of my projects around the world, I always use orchids. It's one of my signature items to have in the home. So let's walk around. So first of all, we have these beautiful marble busts that were my great-grandparents that are from the Princess of Venice. And right behind it, it's a beautiful tapestry. It's a British tapestry from the 17th century that she loves. We have a beautiful set of antique Louis XV side tables that I incorporated with a more contemporary sofas by Baker Furniture, and a beautiful faux fur that I think makes it very cozy. Here we have a beautiful bronze, or French bronze from the 19th century by Lemoyne, on top of one of my beautiful tables that I produce. I produce furniture. I make rugs, I design furniture like tables, sofas, chairs. So I wanted to incorporate some of my designs into my own home. Then we have a beautiful pair of antique Louis XV bergères, well, fauteuils, and beautiful Louis XV clock. And then I have this beautiful set of roosters. I find animals to be beautiful, and I always try to incorporate animal figures to my designs. On the background is one of my favorite mirrors that my mother bought to me on a trip to Venice many years ago. So I wanted to be like the most important feature in the room, which reminds me of her. As I told you, I think a home should be all about love and all about memories and objects that bring you all those feelings to mind. So yeah, and then I have this beautiful set of antique Italian marquetry commodes that are fantastic. And also, if you can come closer, you can see a large collection of obelisks, of stones, of natural quartz that I collect. I love books. I've been a fan of books, design books. To me, they bring me joy. Every night when I go to bed, I try to grab a couple of them and go through them and feel inspired and makes my mind go relaxed, and and then I can go to sleep. This is a beautiful cabinet. I've always enjoyed and admired the William and Mary concept of furniture, which basically was Japanese or Chinese cabinets on European stands. So in this case, this is a George I design on a Japanese top cabinet, which blend beautifully and make this thing called the chinoiserie that I love, no? That we all love, I guess, these days. And a few of my blue and white collection. I have a pair of antique Chinese food dogs, and they're beautiful. I've never seen those. They're like peaceful. When you see them, they have a beautiful face. If you're gonna give a close-up, they have a beautiful, peaceful face, and they're not aggressive. They're just like welcoming you. And then on top, I have this antique set of obelisks made of tortoise shell. Antique, it's like many, many years ago. And that I found in Palm Beach, and I really enjoy them. Flanked by these two beautiful Florentine brackets and Japanese bases on top that I always try to fill with wheat, because according to the French superstition, wheat brings you fortune and good luck. So yeah, I always try to incorporate wheat in my homes. So I found this home after I turned 50. So I used to live high in the mountains, on the suburbs, where there are bigger homes, more affordable homes, but bigger, and the air is cleaner. But the city grew so much, and there was so much traffic, that one day I was going to Colonia Roma, which is a beautiful neighborhood that I will take you next time. And it took like 4 hours for me to get there. So I decided it was about time to move closer to where the action was going on and where all my friends live. And so I spent like a year and a half looking for this place. And I gave up. I originally wanted a house. As you know, Mexico City is an earthquake city, so I'm quite terrified of earthquakes, actually. So I didn't want a building anymore. I wanted a house. But I couldn't find a house. So I said, well, you know what? I'm going to rent an apartment while I search for my ideal house. And then I came to see this apartment, and it was for rent. And I had previously seen it like 10 years ago from the late owner who passed away. So I said to the realtor, do you know if they sell this place? And she told me, well, we could find out. So she got on the phone, talked to the owner, and the owner said, well, how much are you willing to pay? And I said, how much are you willing to receive? And she says, what about this amount? I said, okay, let's do it. So we closed the deal then and there, and it was a lot of fun. So come on over, I want to show you my dining room. So welcome to my dining room. I set the table specifically for you guys. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna tell you I'm expecting friends over, and I didn't. I wanted to share with you one of my passions and one of my biggest collections in my life, which is my china sets. I have more than 36 china sets, and in Mexico City, and then I have like 12 in Miami, and then another six or eight in Madrid. But this is one of the things that I love the most: setting a table, welcoming my friends, welcoming my loved ones. And I wanted to share with you my most prized possession as a china set, which is the Flora Danica, which is originally, it was made for the Empress Catherine the Great of Russia as a gift from the Danish king. They were negotiating some treaties, and he wanted to conquer her, you know, like flirt with her in a way of sorts. And so he had made this beautiful set of plates depicting all the flowers in Denmark and all the plants that they have. And by the end of the day, it took so long for their artisans to make it. It was only one guy painting the whole thing, that the Empress of Russia died. So they kept the set for themselves and opened Parliament. After opening Parliament, they did an official luncheon with the plates. So after that, they decided to manufacture them to sell to the public. Ever since, they've been making the highest quality plates to my taste, and this is it. This is the Flora Danica, which means Danish flowers, and yeah, each plate takes like around a month to make. It's all made by hand and all painted by hand, and I think there's only 2 or 3 artisans that do the whole things. So over the years, all over the world, in auctions and our flea markets and stuff, I've been collecting pieces, because if you were to buy it directly from the store, it would be so expensive that you could not afford it. So I got it, and I've reached an amount that I can set 12 people with it, and with all settings and the serving platters and all. So it's beautiful. Then my friends from Ebron and Company in New York made this beautiful sets for me, specifically custom, and so each linen corresponds with a plate, and it's fantastic. Then during my stay in Spain, I met this beautiful lady who's now my friend, called Pia Rubio, who has the most beautiful China store and a table store in Spain, and she imports all these beautiful pieces from all over the world. And I saw these beautiful glasses from Paris, from a French artisan. And in this case, it's the lily of the valley, or the muguet, like the French call it, muguet, which is a beautiful flower, again, also that brings good fortune and good luck to all those who have it. And so I incorporated this with the colorway of the set, and I think it works beautifully, together with a set of stemware flutes from Saint Louis Cristallier. That's called Tommy. It's called the Tommy flute, and it comes in all these beautiful colors, all these gem colors that I love. This one is ruby red, and I have it in emerald green, in sapphire blue, and amethyst. It's fantastic. And I incorporated with these beautiful glasses, also by Saint Louis, called Thistle. And these were the glasses that the French monarchs used to drink their wines with. So it all has a history to it, you know. And then on an auction, I saw this beautiful bucciolati salt and pepper receptacles that I think they're beautiful, with swans, again with the birds and the animals that I love. And then I called my florist, and I think every designer should have a florist of their own, and really talk to them and share with them the idea you have for the table. So as you can see, you have the colorways of the plates on the flowers. And always, you don't want to overwhelm with flowers the table. You know, you want to be subtle. So the star of the show is the service plates, not so much the flowers, but they complement to each other. This is a surtout de table. This what it means. It goes all over the table, on top of the table, and it's a empire style brass, gilded brass, and again complemented with the beautiful pheasants, gilded pheasants. They're silver and gilded, which I think it's beautiful. And then my mother's candelabra, brass candelabra, which are French empire style, that go beautifully with the surtout de table. And yeah, so the magic about this table is it has extensions, so you can seat almost 24 people if you want, or just 6 people if you need. No? Come on over. On this side, we have a beautiful Japanese imari vase that I love. They used to belong to my grandma. And again, we have beautiful pink quartz spheres that complement really well with the vase and with the clothes of this beautiful lady, elegant lady. This is an English painting of the 18th century that it's called the boudoir, and it represents two society ladies talking to each other. This is actually a wallpaper, and it's a British wallpaper company called Excel that it's represented in the States through Schumacher, and this design is called the D-Dream, and it's done. They have various colorways that you can choose, and this is called the cyan colorway, I guess. Was it called? Yeah. So it represents all this nature, and again with the birds that I love, some monkeys, the palm trees, again some more birds. You have the river, you have beautiful flowers, and the best thing about this is right behind all this is closets. So this is where I keep most of my china sets. I've always been a fan of Coco Chanel, you know, her apartment in Paris. I think everyone has seen it and it's iconic. So every time I see it, I always wanted to have a Coromandel screen of my own. And so I saw this one in Paris. And I decided to buy it because of the height. Usually Coromandel screens are really, really high. They're like, I would say, 10 feet high. And it's really hard to get like shorter, because then you would get like small screens that nobody wants. So finally I got the right height of screen, and I immediately bought it. And it's a beautiful 18th century 8-panel screen that I decided to open in two sections, like Michael Taylor, you know, the designer, the US designer back in the day, used to do. And so I think it works beautifully. And I set some indirect lighting from beneath, so it brings out all the texture. You can see all the texture and because it's all carved out, you know. It's all these layers of enamel, and then they carve them out and start bringing the designs forward. And again, with my beautiful orchids that I enjoy on this beautiful card that was my mom's. And right beneath the orchids, I have a beautiful set of a punch bowl, and that used to belong to my grandma on my father's side. And I think it reminds me of her, and every time I see it, it makes me smile, you know. And if you can see the blue cobalt glass inside, I think it's magical. So this is a beautiful commode by Charles René Boulle, and it's by Boulle, and it's all inlaid with tortoise shell and brass, which is gilded brass, which is, I find it spectacular. If you could see the details later on, make a close-up of it, I think it's fantastic, and they all tell a story. And it's like you have all these engravings and stuff that tells you historical or figures, and it's beautiful. And then on top of it, we have the same design on a clock, on a mantle clock, which I think it goes beautifully. First, my mother gave me this piece, and then she decided that I also had to have this because it went really well together with this, with the commode. I've lived here for this time, and in this time I realized that one of my rooms is my favorite winter room, which is the red room, and the other favorite room is the green room, which is the summer room, where you can see the plants. I have a small balcony with plants, and it's very calming, very soothing during the summer, during the hot summer days. And the red room for winter is ideal because it's a really warm color, and it's really cozy, and it's really, you know, like embraces you. So those are my two favorite rooms. So come on over, I'll show you my favorite room in the house for summer, which is the green room. As I told you before, it reminds me of South Florida, the quintessential Palm Beach look, I guess. And So I wanted a soothing place, like a jardin d'hiver, which means a winter garden inside your house. And I think it's fantastic. And so come on in. It's very soothing. It's all done in green tones with a beautiful green carpet by Stark, with green leopard, and beautiful scalamandre chinoiserie fabric that is called dragon. I don't remember the name, but it's a dragon fabric from scalamandre that I love. And so it's all in greens. And I complemented it with blue. I think always green and blue go beautifully together. So we have the Food Dogs by Ralph Lauren lamps, and then the leopard, and then the dragons. So you have all these animals all over my house, you know, which is kind of crazy, and I love it. It's and then we have a beautiful palm trees, and I always try to incorporate mirrors in every room I make because they bring light, and I think a touch of glamour to every room. Wouldn't you agree? Then right behind me is a beautiful, massive painting by an American artist friend of mine called Ray Smith. This painting actually was given to me by him and his gallerist many years ago, and yeah, I really enjoy it. It's you have all these beautiful blue tones that go really well with the lamps, and then you have all these greens, light greens and aquas, and then the pink that always brings a touch of femininity to a room and gives it a little bit of yumminess. I think, you know. Ever since I was a little child, I guess bubble gum was pink and everything was pink, and then you somehow represent pink with strawberries and stuff, so it always makes you want something sweet. And I incorporated this also, Louis XV fauteuils or chairs, and upholstered again with the scalamandre green fabric that I love. And I placed all these beautiful two wall brackets with two of my blue and white bases, and the beautiful brass lamps, and then again the mirror that gives it, the light bounces, I think, magically and makes it look more glamorous, I guess, always. Huh? Come on over, I'll show you my friend's favorite place. Come on. My home was originally, this place was originally very classic, but it had too many moldings, and it has, I love high ceilings. So what I did was take up the ceilings and maybe loosen up a little bit of the moldings. I decided to do all the boiserie that was in natural wood on a white lacquer, so it would be smoother and easier. And so yeah, I toned it down a bit and made it more contemporary, more young. I didn't want to feel in an old place. And as I told you, I think a home reflects the personality of the owner. So I don't want it to scare away my friends. And in Mexico, drinking is a lot of part of a culture, you know. So everybody loves tequila and everybody loves to drink. And I have all my favorite tequilas, you know, Don Julio. This one made by my friend Eva Longoria that she dedicated to my name, she's very sweet, and also Casa Dragones, and also look, it's with my name. She's a very sweet friend, sweet lady, sorry. And so yeah, all my tequilas, my Clase Azul, which is one of my favorites, and all my friends at the end of the night, they all gather here and have a great time till it's really in the morning, I guess. My neighbors really love me. So I was telling you before in the living room that I'm a big fan of William and Mary cabinets. So this is one of the first cabinets I got, and this is actually the responsible for the room color, you know. So I was inspired by this color to get all the room done in the same tones, up and down, but same, all green and all beautiful. And yeah, and it's filled with all my childhood photo albums and all my stuff that I'll show you later. And on this side, we have a beautiful set of Russian malachite obelisks and solid malachite spheres. This is so heavy that I mentioned you about, that I love all these stones and minerals all around my house. Right next to the bottles, I have these two huge, that I'll show you, these two huge sets of jade, it's solid jade jars. Can you see it? And again, they're supposed to be, they're carved with birds, flowers, and they're supposed to be good luck. So welcome to my library, or as my friends call it, the Red Room, which everybody loves as well. It's very kinky, some say. Come on. So I've always collected books. It's another collection of mine, and it's been really complicated when you move from home to pack all these books and to store them and then put them back again. It takes a lot of work, and your hands take a beating. But I really enjoy books, and to me they make me travel, make me imagine, make me inspire. So it seemed fit for me to make for myself a library. So I tried to do my best in the space, and I did a beautiful library, all in red tones. That I think makes it very, very rich and very, very warm. And I think everyone should have at least once in their lifetimes a red room in their home. And in this room, you can see a mixture of textures and fabrics. You can see a beautiful fabric, silk damask by Scalamandre as well. Some, I always love animal prints, so I try to incorporate it like really small touches because you cannot feel overwhelmed by it. So I incorporated the leopardo pattern also by Scalamandre. And so I have a beautiful set of a pair of pillows and then some footrests. Those footrests used to be used in Europe during the court days in England, and meant for old people to put their feet up high while sitting down. And I'm reaching that age, by the way. So, and so I made this beautiful ottoman in homage to Queen Eugenia Victoria from Spain, that she really loved capitonado, which is tufted. And then we have the beautiful TV where I watch you Homeworthy every day. And then I wanted to make the room feel bigger and lighter, so I incorporated a bit of a mirror to it. And then I have this beautiful, also French Louis XVI fauteuil from the 18th century, reupholstered in the beautiful velvet, leopardo velvet, next to this small lamp that is very French, I guess. Then we have these beautiful ottomans. I always have an issue with coffee tables. I don't really like coffee tables. I think they're kind of sometimes stiff and hard to a room, and I think an ottoman makes it more soft and welcoming. So what I always do in my designs is place a couple of ottomans and then place a huge custom-made tray on top of it, so you can lay your favorite things or artifacts that you want to feature. And so these are, again, my mother's glass spheres. She collected, well, she collects, and a beautiful Coromandel style box that I love. It's made of enamel, and it's, I think, 17th century as well. With a beautiful set of hurricane candlesticks by Ralph Lauren in silver, and my florals. I make for my clients, since I make all these beautiful boats and second homes. I make beautiful faux flowers. So these ones are actually silk, and they're so realistic. Everybody wants them. It's one of the top seller items I have in my store, and I have them in all the colors and all the sizes, and they're beautiful, and they last a lifetime, you know. Just don't let them get some dust on it. If you leave your house, just place a piece of fabric on top of it or something. And then this painting, it's a Mexican painter, and it depicts a convent in the 19th century, and it gives me peace. It was owned by my grandparents, and I almost can magically hear the sound of the fountain, you know, and it gives me peace and tranquility to look at it. And I have all my fashion books that I love fashion. Then I have my English books and New York books. So being in a library, I wanted to show you one of my latest books that I'm really proud of. It was published 2015. Now I'm working on 2 new ones, one for interior design, my interior projects in Europe, and the other one for my tables. So I'm working on both of them now. I'm really excited, and I'll invite you to when I have them ready so you can have a preview. So this is one of my recent books, and I wanted to show it to you. And also I wanted to show you one of these very interesting pieces that it's a human face made, if you see, made of small animals, you see? So they're all tiny animals like sheep, and you have leopards, and you have birds, and it's really priceless. I think it used to belong to my mom, and it's beautiful. You see all the marquetry, all the inlaid bone marquetry, which is fantastic. I don't know, I think it's nature. I love like plants, I love animals, I love, I don't know, I guess in my other life I was a hunter. No, I'm just kidding. So this you have to see. This it used to be my, I used to have a piano teacher that was like it was originally my mother's piano teacher. She was an older lady, and she was the sweetest lady you've ever met. And when she passed away, she gave me this. This is all I got from her estate, and you cannot believe what it is. It's dressed ticks. Ticks. Can you believe it? They dress them. In Mexico, they have you have ¿cómo se dice una lupa? They have a loop on top of them, so you can see the tiny, tiny, tiny clothes they have. I think this cracks me up. This is crazy. I love it. And then I have these 2 ancient calendars. Well, not ancient, but old calendars that they used to have in bronze, so you can change the dates and the day. And they was from 1939 to 1978. So I think it's interesting. And then I have this beautiful musical box that my brother gifted me when we were little children on a trip to Salzburg. And so it reminds me of him. And then I have all my beautiful books I really enjoy. And then I really enjoy having tea. So I'm a really big tea drinker. I'm allergic or sensitive to caffeine, so I cannot drink coffee, even though I love it. But ever since I discovered tea, I always drink decaffeinated tea, which I love. And my favorite is Earl Grey. So you can see tea sets all over the house. So I'll drink tea in the morning, in the afternoon, and late at night. So I love tea. So yeah. And this painting is another interesting story. When I visited Russia with my grandma back in the 80s, late 80s, there was still a communist party, and there were, so there's a lot of memories attached to this painting. So I've always liked to have it nearby and just look at it once in a while to remember her and have a good time. So this is my home office. Someday I'll show you my atelier and my showroom. But meanwhile, my house, this is my home office. This is where I take those late nights, since we're on a different time slot, Madrid and Mexico. Most of my meetings I take via Zoom, and so I need a decent place to work with at 3 a.m. in the morning. So this is my desk, which is a beautiful desk. It was this one I bought myself in Paris at Christie's. It used to be an auction for the Versailles Fund, something like that, and it's an original piece. It costed me an arm and a leg, but I really enjoy it, and I think it's a luxury to work in one of these desks. Maybe, who knows, some king worked on it someday. I don't know. And then I have a beautiful animal print desk set by Ralph Lauren, and which is zebra hide that I really love. And then I have all this stationery with my name on it. I really think when one approaches a friend or a client, this gives it a special feeling, a special touch, and I always try to do everything by hand and personal notes, like all days, I'm an old type of guy. And then my computer, as one ages, one needs glasses and one needs, by the way. one needs a bigger display so you can see all these emails and all the floor plans and all the layouts. And so I do need a bigger space. And there's a beautiful desk set, also French, Napoleon III, I guess, gilded bronze and marble, that I also bought at an auction in Paris. And also, again, my beautiful flowers. And a gilded mirror, and that gives it a special, touch on top of the whole thing. So it's like making a beautiful painting, the whole thing, as you'll see later on with a walkthrough. So yeah. So come on over to the guest room, which is blue. As I told you, my home is my laboratory, where I can try new things and new colors and see if it works or not. Come on over. This is the blue room, and this is the guest room. This is where all my out-of-town friends come and stay, and I try to treat them like in a hotel, like a 5-star hotel with a 5-star beautiful linens. This is done by Protesi. This is a vintage design that they don't make anymore. I always try to spoil my friends every time they're here, and so in all my designs, I always try to have the best beds. I tell to my clients, once you sleep in one of my beds, you'll see why you hire a designer. I think having a beautiful bed makes the next day so much better and so much nicer, and makes you make better decisions. So I think it has a very important impact, a beautiful done bed. And so in this case, we have a beautiful canopy bed that I love, and flanked by these two beautiful Louis XV commodes that are just the right scale to have like a nightstand. And these beautiful lamps, again by Ralph Lauren. This is not paid advertisement, but I love Ralph Lauren. I've worked with them for many, many years, and they did my book launch in New York in the beautiful store. So I really appreciate them, and I really enjoy their quality of the stuff they do. So I think the blue and white really complements the blue and white of the fabrics. And then we have this beautiful set of fauteuils or vergères, French, and upholstered in this beautiful silk velvet damask, which is kind of a jewel tone. It's like a sapphire. On top of it, it was one of my grandfather's paintings, which is actually a watercolor by a French artist, and it's representing Mozart playing harpsichord to a cardinal, no? And you can see all the detail of the fabric, which is amazing. You can see even the lace work of the tablecloth, which is for a watercolor. I mean, can you believe it? It's fantastic. I really enjoy it. And then on this side we have La Valenciana. This is my mother's side, Spanish side, and Spain present in my house. This is a very beautiful, typical dress lady from Valencia, Spain, in this beautiful Spanish frame, as you can see. And she's carrying these beautiful red flowers that I think complements perfectly to the bedroom next to it. And all the blues are actually found in the room that I really love. Come on over. This is the desk for my guests, so they can write notes and have have some tea in the morning or whatever. These flowers are natural. This is beautiful. This is natural. And so yeah, and I upholstered the chair to have they can have their laptop here and then just write home or whatever. And it's really nice. And the views, you have to see the views later on. They're fantastic. Now it's time for the main room. So I want to show you where I sleep. Come on. So first of all, I have this, I'm a big fan of Our Lady of Guadalupe, which is Our Lady from Mexico. It's a patron virgin from Mexico, and I'm really devoted to her. And then we come to this beautiful painting that was originally gonna be inside that room, but it didn't fit. And it's by a Mexican artist called Fernanda. And she's amazing, and she's very talented. And I really love the explosion of color and the contrast on the background. So it kind of sets the mood for the transition. And then I've always loved how Europeans place these curtains on the entryways of rooms. It was originally done to have all the temperature in the winter, to keep the rooms warm and not to have all this flow of airs. So, but I think they make it really grand and really amazing. I always like to have a living area inside a master bedroom or a main bedroom, to somewhere where you can be, relaxing and reading and just be quiet, And so this is my living area of the room. It's basically done by an antique French Empire sofa that I reupholstered and put a bit of a modern twist on it, and flanked by these beautiful Italian chairs, upholstered in this beautiful tiger print that I love. And again, this is another one of my beautiful flowers that I have at store, and they sell like crazy. They're beautiful and they look so realistic, right? And the reason why I do this is because I'm allergic to flowers, to like the pollen, so I cannot have real flowers in my room. That's why, but I love flowers. So funny story about this enamel box. I bought it in Paris, and by the time it came to Mexico, there was a box that was like 9 feet by 9 feet, wooden box. And I said, what's inside? What did I buy? My God, there's nowhere I can hide this. So when I opened it, it was another box, and then another box, and then another box. It was like a joke, and this was inside of it. But yeah, I really love it. It's called cloisonné, and it's enamel, several layers of enamel and brass on top of it, which is very lovely, and it really goes well with the desk. That is chinoiserie style desk. This is a British piece, and inspired by the Chinese style, with the lacquer and with all the, with all the figures in gold. And again, my name on all the papers, and my collection of silver trinkets and stuff. And my parents, when they were in Madrid, my father when he married my mother, one of my trips to Cairo, Egypt, on top of the Sphinx, which was kind of crazy, and then some trips to England when I was at the Rothschild mansion called Waddesdon Manor, which is fantastic. It's one of my beautiful favorite homes that I've visited. And some trinkets that I like to keep. And then I have the bed, and again with some beautiful linens. And when my mother started deciding who would keep which paintings from her estate, she decided to give me this one because when I was a little boy, I put my hand inside boiling caramel, boiling sugar, and I burned it really bad. And when it was on one of our ranches, like 5 hours driving from Mexico City, so I could not have any hospitals or anything, so she had to take care of me herself. And I was crying so bad in front of this painting, and everything I could see was the painting. So as a gift to that, she gave me this beautiful painting, which is a Madonna done in the 18th century. It's an Italian piece. As you can see, the Florentine frame, and it's a beautiful, beautiful painting that reminds me of that painful day, but also reminds me of her and her love and care for me, so it's kind of sweet. And then I have this beautiful screen. These panels I bought in Paris on the flea market, and they were just rolled paper. They're painted by hand. They're 17th century as well. And I called my upholsterer in Mexico, and I said, can you mount them on something to make them usable? And he said, well, why don't we make a screen? So he made a beautiful 12-leaf screen, and I decided just to keep 8 leaves for my bedroom and split them in 2 ways to make it kind of a cocoon and complement the canopy. And so yeah, it's fantastic. I love it. I think it's by the way, it's scenery from Paris. It's one of my favorite cities in the world. You can see over there Notre Dame. and you can see the column of Place Vendôme, and Notre Dame, and Ile Saint Louis. So you'll see of a lot of Paris, and maybe dream you're in Paris. And here you have one of the arches. It's right next to the Louvre, and you can see the Louvre right behind it. And I think I love it. I think home means to me my personal place where I can come and recharge my batteries and relax and just be safe and be where I think it resumes to love. I think you're surrounded by memories, by loved ones, by memories that came from loved ones, and so I think your home is love. I think love is a welcoming place filled with love.
Thanks for watching. Go to homeworthy.com for exclusive content and shopping guides.